People of YouTube, hello and welcome to Ultimate General Gettysburg, which is a somewhat recent RTS, or a tactical RTS rather, which is too loud, and I'm gonna turn it down as I always realize too late that it's too loud. So, this is a game about the Battle of Gettysburg, and it takes place over several days, just kind of like the real Battle of Gettysburg, which, in case you have no idea what it is, it's one of the most important and decisive battles in American Civil War. So obviously the game concerns the American Civil War. But interestingly enough, it's just about a single battle, and that's a good thing. So instead of talking about, I'll probably get to like sort of what is there in the entire menu, options menu, etc. But let's get into the game first, so you immediately get the feel for it, and I think you will like understand a lot about the game just by taking a look at it. So let's start a new battle, which means basically start a new campaign in the words of a different game, or like a more conventional game. And this game does have some innovative stuff, which is quite cool. It comes in terms of the way the mechanics of the game work, and the way even let's say the menu is organized, etc. So obviously in this battle you can choose from two sides. You can either fight for Union or fight for the Confederates. I'm gonna go fight for Union just for simplicity's sake, and I will probably show you the very first battle, and then something that is a bit later on to show you how things change a little bit. The first innovative thing that you'll probably notice about the Ultimate General is when you get to choose the difficulty. So instead of having easy, medium, difficult, ultra human, whatever, it actually has sort of like a graph or a scale of aggressiveness and the difficulty of the enemy. And you can choose out of the 9, let's call them difficulties. So you can have a not very smart enemy, but very aggressive and risky. You can have someone who is neither aggressive nor very cunning, so you'll be a cautious one, or this guy will be a defensive one. Dynamic, determined, offensive, balance, and it's pretty cool, and it does work, and you will notice the difference. So for the sake of demonstrating the way the mechanics work, the basic controls of the game, etc., I was going to go with cautious. What I'm going to show you later is going to be a random one, so I don't actually know. You can actually choose a random one. You will not know what to expect, and you'll have to kind of realize. And I think what I got in the end when I chose the random one was offensive one or determined, but that's something that we'll figure out. Or I mean, you could probably never know, I guess, but that's kind of my guess. But we'll get to that part after I talk about slightly about the UI and the way the game works, etc. So we're going to go to battle here. The very first battle. The first one is always the same. The other ones will change because the game is very dynamic and fluid. If there's like one way to describe Ultimate General, it is very fluid, and it takes into account everything that's going on. So you get the initial screen of the battle. The blue forces in this case are the Union, the red ones are the Confederates, and you can get some army details. This is your army details, Confederate army details, and then you go to briefing again. You know how much you have now, how much they have. You get a lot of reinforcements, they get a bit less, but they also start with double your amount of forces. Union generally has more guns, etc. So certain things are, well, many things rather, are very historically accurate. So let's go to fight this. We don't actually need this. I'm going to pause the game. So the game is real time, and at least one of the guys I think who made this, this is made by Games Lab, and I think this is their first release ever, but they've there's a list of games that worked on, etc., etc. And one of them I think used to be a modder for, as far as I've heard, for Total War series, and it kind of shows it is kind of similar to Total War, but also very different in many ways and better in many ways. So take note of the map and how small the initial map is. This is the first one that you start with, and so this is Gettysburg here, and where is the location of it? This is going to be important later on, so I can talk about more the way the battles work and where your position on the battlefield is, etc., etc. So that's the town. The map is rather detailed. I'm also using the sort of the blurred edges. You can turn it off if you don't like it. Obviously, you can see here our units. There are victory positions or victory points in the game, like this one and this one, which are already possessed by the Union. And I think there's another one here, also in the Union control, even though we don't have any forces there. And we have a Confederate one here, and I think there should be another one. Maybe not. Maybe that's the only one with the Confederates that start with. Okay. In terms of units, we have cavalry. We have just linemen, I guess the name is for people with muskets. These are skirmishers. There's like more bigger units which are less skirmishing, more like determinedly marching towards people and killing them. I am not an expert on like different units of that era or any other. I am sort of approaching this as a game, as a video game, and how that works. So it is supposed to be very historically accurate to a degree to a point where like all the farms and stuff like that are where they're supposed to be, etc. So which is pretty cool. Now you'll notice that when you turn to your unit, it changes the LOS, and you get that LOS for I think for some time, and then it should shift. If I've actually put that in the options, it should shift to the overall LOS. If it doesn't, then you can just click somewhere else, and it will give you, at some point it gives you the overall LOS of all the units. But it doesn't matter because there's no squad sight in the game. They can only hit and attack what they can see. So that's considering the line of sight. The way you move the units is you drag them around, sort of. So for example, if I wanted the skirmishers to go ahead, and for some reason, if I was crazy enough to attack this huge force station over there, I'll grab them and draw the line, kind of like you see on historical maps, which is really cool. If I wanted these guys to come around, say on that flank, then I would just grab them and do something like that. That would be a lot of movement, so I wouldn't necessarily do that. Double click and it goes away. To select several units, again, this is part of the innovative controls. It kind of seems to like inspired a little bit by touchscreen stuff, but this is only, I think as far as I know, only on PC. So you kind of lasso around them, and that way you have selected all of them. Now if I want them to, say, all of them to retreat back, which is something actually I am going to do, because we don't really have much chance here, I can do a press control down, then right click where the center wants to, I want the center to be, and actually probably even like that, so we can occupy the ridges here and have a better defensive capability against the Confederates when they eventually do arrive there. And that's what we're going to do. So if I unpause, they will start moving around. The Confederates are going to start moving in on us, but we'll also start receiving reinforcements from down south. Now, more interesting stuff about the units, and which adds to the dynamic stuff and fluidity. So, for one thing, in terms of the interface, okay, so this is where you pause the game, and also the date of it and the time of the day. So within a single day, there will be several battles, several instances that you will have to fight, and they will be of different length, and you will maybe be able to skip some of them depending on how you performed, how many troops you have surviving each battle, and which victory points you're occupying. So the campaign, let's call it that, is going to be very dynamic, and it's going to be different for every player, which is really cool. Now here we have the troop balance. So who has more troops? If I click it, you actually get the number. So you know that the Union has 2,264 and 6 guns, while Confederates have double that and triple the amount of guns. Sorry, and that's your information there. Now, if you click a specific unit, again, it switches the LOS very nicely and neatly. You should actually you're not. Oh, there we go. So you're getting the unit information. So this is the general commanding the unit. You have their name. This is Colonel William Sackett. You get the name of the unit. This is Cavalry Corps 1st Division. They have morale, condition, cover, and reload. 100% reload means basically they're ready to fire. Condition is how tired they are, and also how much ammunition they have, how ready they are in terms of supplies. Morale is morale, and cover is pretty much cover. So depending on where the unit is positioned, they will have either good cover or bad cover, or sort of medium cover. The trees help, etc. But these things also interact with each other dynamically. So the morale will depend on their condition, will depend on their cover, will depend on the presence of a general, who is here, and you can see his area of influence. And here we have the general. This is Brigadier General John Bufford, and they're supposed to be all historic figures. Again, I don't know that much about Civil War to either confirm or deny this. I'm sure it's accurate. I mean, why would it not be in a historical game? Anyway, and what the general does, it helps keep the morale and the condition and replenish it as well. So, and this is when you click on the general, you see the overall morale of all the troops he commands. You can even double click the general to, I think, select all the troops in his direct command. If I'm not mistaken. Oh, that's at least how it's supposed to work. Maybe he only has these guys actually in his direct command because they are in the circle. Possibly that's how it works. Everyone in his direct influence will be under his direct command, etc. Generals cannot be killed. They withdraw from combat if someone is sort of near them. They will withdraw on their own, but they cannot be killed, and they serve as sort of reinforcing units. They're set pieces that you need to position them near where they're needed. Because if you stretch out, for example, your line of battle so much that you only have one general, but your battle lines go for kilometers or miles or whatever, then there will not be enough to cover all of them, and people who are not within the general's influence will lose their morale faster, etc., etc. So we're gonna let's actually roll this here. There is no way to speed up the time except for like pause it and unpause it, but stuff does happen at a decent rate. You can probably tell already that people who actually we may need to. They are possibly a bit too cautious there. I was gonna say we may need to cover the repositioning of our guns here, but I'm not sure we kind of do actually. Let's get the skirmishers up here. Just turn them around. Just so that we let the guns get to where they need to be rather, and we'll probably place the general somewhere up here. Just to begin all this. I think you can also use the square selection stuff. I think that's how it works. So if you wanted to do the traditional one, you can still do it. Okay, so these guys are gonna come up here, and all the units have like their own specific AI, obviously. And if you leave them somewhere, they'll manage themselves just fine. So these guys will fire, and if the enemy gets too close, their skirmishers, obviously, they will withdraw. I can tell them to hold if I wanted to. I can tell them to charge, which means they have high enough morale and are close enough to the enemy to charge. Now when you select them, the enemy they are targeting by default lights up, so that's how you know which one they're targeting. Now if I wanted to, I can retarget them over here by clicking these guys, and then they would be looking that way. Now meanwhile, while this is happening, I think we should actually we're not. I was hoping for reinforcements, but we're not really. That's not really happening right now for some reason. Let's move the horses a little bit forward. The general can be over here. These guys I don't think they see anyone, so we can just move them a little bit forward. Especially when you zoom in, it looks really beautiful. It looks like it's kind of like, I guess, for lack of a better word, picture pretty, not picture perfect, but it seems has a very fine art sort of quality to it, and it adds to this idea of like, oh, this is a historical battle that we're dealing with, etc. So which is pretty cool. This can be a problem pretty soon. We may actually have to tell them. Oh, we can't actually tell them to fall back because they're running away, aren't they? We can though tell them to reposition themselves over here, which could work. While these guys keep slowing the enemy down. At some point, we should get reinforcements from down south, which is going to let us probably repel this attack. Because for now, we are not doing so well. I'm actually quite surprised that after choosing the cautious enemy, these guys are still the Davis division or whoever they. Oh, sorry, that's not what I meant. No. You stay there, buddy. You're good. Just attack this guy. There's no way you can stop those. Oh, Jesus. Alright, come over here. Okay, we gotta kill them. We gotta stop these dudes over here. Uh-oh. Oh, actually, they're in shit cover. I gotta go. Well, sorry, that's the... Oh, okay, they're shooting canisters. So the way artillery works, you can have them... Oh, there you go. Our reinforcements are coming from here. So if we just hold out for a bit longer, we should be fine. And again, we chose the cautious type of enemy, so they're not going to be a big of a problem. But they also have reinforcements coming in from over there. We kind of have them at the same time in this battle. Hopefully, we will be okay for now. They're actually charging? Damn. Those are canister shots. So anyway, you can choose between when you are when you're controlling your artillery. You can either let them choose what they want to fire, or you can tell them what to fire. And if you just leave your units be, they'll just... Actually, what we can do now... Sorry to interrupt myself. we can bring these guys around, and they can flank those dudes and attack them in the back. And hopefully, actually, yeah, they should be quite disheartened by our actions here, I would imagine. Let's go. All right, cool. And oh, there we go. We have Cutler here coming up to us, and we have Iron Brigade. So then this is as far as I know, is also historical names. We have a bit of a problem there. Hopefully we can. Actually, yeah, we have to stop this guy somehow as well. Archer there could be a problem. Come on, guy. You can do it. There you go. Shoot those guys. Very nice. All right, you guys come over here. Do this. Okay. And I think we're gonna have even more reinforcements coming up our way. I don't think Davis is gonna hold out for much longer. And we also have more reinforcements coming from southeast there, which is pretty cool. Iron Brigade is something we need to bring up probably. They're already firing at them as well. Cool. So we have more or less repelled our assailants there. The skirmishers are not doing too well, but that's okay. We have the cavalry here to deal with the enemy skirmishers. They're not such a big problem. We can have Iron Brigade come up to our left flank here and stop the archer division, I guess, whatever that is called. And this is pretty much how the battle goes on. I don't really want to get involved in the first battle or go in there too deeply. What happens in the next one, I will show you. The map is, you can imagine that this is a huge map and we are seeing a small part of it. Later on, we may be fighting north of here, south of here, west of here, east of here, and you'll see different parts around Gettysburg as the battle continues. And I haven't actually played the entire campaign through to the end. I've played, I think, 2 days. When a day is over, you get to make, maybe I've mentioned this already, strategic decisions about your sort of general plans for the next day. Would you like to be more defensive? Would you like to counterattack? And it also tells you what the AI is most likely to do if you were to choose that option. You can also see here that after our reinforcements arrived, our troop balance is sort of in the middle, but that's not even what determines it. I think, as far as I can tell, I haven't outright lost anything in the game yet, but even if you do, you still, like, the game is not over, so you can be losing for some time. The main objective is to not lose the control of the city, not lose the Battle of Gettysburg. If you lose a couple of battles in the beginning and then win a couple later, you could still win the campaign. You could still win the Battle of Gettysburg, which is pretty cool. And again, adds to the whole dynamic and fluid structure of the game, or fluid, I guess, like, I don't know, backbone, the idea, the concept of fluidity embedded in the game. So what we're going to do now is, even though this is fun, but I want to show you a different sort of focus on the map. So let's go to, is this where we want to go? There's some desperation happening here, I guess. Let's go, oh no, let's go second desperation. Fourth is the second day, so 2nd of July. Let's go to the third one. Or maybe the middle one, so where things are kind of weird. Blah, 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 blah. Do you want to continue loading another battle? Yes, I do want to continue loading another battle. Let's fight that battle. Now you can see here that we can see a lot more south and east of Gettysburg. So, and the map is quite a lot bigger than what we saw previously. And also, even though some of the victory positions are the same, like this one, like Oak Ridge, and I think this is, I don't remember what this is, Hearst Tavern, Hearst Ridge, something like that. We also have new ones, like, for example, the cemetery. And there should be also, oh, no, you guys gotta stay here, hold your ground. Yeah, you can tell them to hold their ground. I think I mentioned this maybe. And there's another one somewhere here, so it's supposed to be a seminary or something like that somewhere, but I forgot where it is, or maybe I just don't see it. And you can see that here, the enemy has actually broken through my lines in a couple of places. The Pettigrew, again, I'm going to call it division, I'm not sure what the proper name is, are quite strong and really hard to deal with. So we're kind of struggling here, but this is also one of our best units here as well, so we should be okay. I'm already won. I've been past this. I'm just trying to basically show you how this works and how it changes from one game, from one like mini battle or from one part of the battle to another one, and how it is different. And this is the one I said was a random one in terms of the difficulty of the game, and you may even notice, even though I'm obviously I won't be able to like pause here for a long time, but you may notice how much more aggressive the enemy is here, because I chose a different difficulty, or rather I chose a random one, and obviously then it resulted in me getting a different difficulty. So let's advance these guys here. The town mostly serves like a symbolic purpose, or it seems that way anyway, in terms of it's like its importance, or its mechanic changing function on the map. It doesn't really, I haven't noticed it like adding that much more cover. I guess it kind of acts like forest in terms of cover, so it's safer to be positioned in the town if that's something that you need to be doing. Okay, let's position them here, and it will give you these little dispatches that, for example, we lost Oak Ridge, and Confederates secured Oak Ridge. Yeah, this is this one here, because we had to withdraw. They pushed us away. This doesn't mean that you can't just, in 5 minutes later, you won't be able to get back in there. It is very likely that you will be able to get back in there. You can see also that because this has been dragging on for a long time, you see that the battle was supposed to be over, but it was delayed then. It does get delayed depending on what happens during the battle. A lot of the troops are quite tired, like the Schimmelpfennig here. His condition is only at 7%, and they're still moving, they're still fighting, and it's probably going to hit 0. They're going to be not very effective very soon. These guys are also very tired, but what you can assume is that probably the enemy is also quite tired. This also influences the reload times. Their morale obviously drops if their condition is poor. We do have a general here who should be helping them to either maintain what poor morale they have, or even replenish them, possibly when they stop fighting. These guys, I'm not sure what the deal with them is. I think their LOS is really bad, so they're not really, they're not doing that well today. They're not feeling it. Yeah, this is continuing here as well. You can notice here, for example, how seriously the morale of this unit has dropped almost to 2%, because they are also being attacked from the rear by another unit, even though they have superior numbers, which is, I guess, 3 times as much as their enemy right in front of them. There's another unit shooting them in the back, and so obviously that will affect their morale, etc., etc. This is pretty much the idea behind the game. Oh, there you go. The battle's over, and we lost a lot of stuff here. Good thing we've saved. And the next one is going to be influenced by that. So actually, you will get to see what is different. Or how it continues from one to another. You can see here they're not getting any reinforcements, but we are. But we start at lesser numbers, but we'll get about 10,000 troops coming in. And the positions we were holding are not exactly the same, but they're similar. So those 2 units we had down here are still there, and those 2 units we were facing are still there, but they are slightly moved away. So they basically reconsolidated their positions. They went back and reorganized, and now the battle continues like a little bit later from the previous one. So again, it flows into a different battle, and it's really cool in that sense. And it has this amazing feeling that you are continuing a very long struggle. I know it was 4 days, and in video game terms, those 4 days can often be disregarded as in like, oh, that's nothing, because if you play like Wolfenstein, the latest one, like he was not unconscious, or he had amnesia for like 15 years or 20 years or something like that. So it's very often that you see in video games time being dismissed, or 4 days being nothing. But here, 4 days or 3.5 days are everything, and you live through them, and you feel this conflict kind of drag on, and you feel that you have agency, and that whatever you do matters, because the next one is going to be almost direct continuation of what you were facing and what you were doing in the previous one. and in that sense, it is very cool. What I haven't tried in the Ultimate General is the multiplayer. I haven't really gotten a chance to. I just wanted to make the video as soon as I could, and didn't really get the chance to play the multiplayer component of the game, even though it does exist, and so I won't be able to comment on that. Besides the general campaign, there's a multiplayer bit, which... Okay, so pressing the multiplayer actually launches a different instance of the game and directly crashed my fraps. So I haven't tried the multiplayer. It exists. It's here. You can press it. If you are using fraps, it may mess you up. But yeah, I won't be able to comment on that. So besides starting a new campaign, which is something we did today, you can also do custom battles. So after you unlock, you go through the first day, for example, the historical scenario. This is the first one, the way it starts, and then those are the ones you played through. So because, for example, on my first day, I actually didn't let Confederates capture Oak Hill or Oak Ridge, and I held all the victory positions. I was given this option, but then I couldn't keep it, etc. But that's why that's the one that lights up. I believe if you play through the entire campaign, then you get all the options going. So all the different versions of the like tiny parts of the battles that you can play through, and then you can play through them individually. Some of them historical, some of them hypothetical. For example, here we have a lot of those unlocked. But other ones you have less because of just the way we played it. I think because we played it in the July 1st evening, we actually completely skipped July 2nd the dawn and went to the morning part. And that's again to continue about the what I was saying about the fluidity and sort of the dynamic nature of the game, which is really cool and something I really like. Generally, I really enjoy games that have that focus on an event or on a place, because it is kind of refreshing to see that, to have that, and obviously Ultimate General does that, which is pretty cool. The options menu, which I promised to show you, doesn't really provide that many things you can do here, and it isn't really that necessary. For one thing, it is a Unity game as well, so that generally speaking, they don't really have that much going on in the options. The tilt shift thing, as I was saying, you can turn on and off. That's the blurriness. I think it's kind of cool. It makes it a bit, I don't know, so like picture pretty, as I was saying, and that's kind of cool. You have only very general sound control, but there isn't really any speech from the units, which is again refreshing in terms of the RTS game. They don't really talk back to you. You're too far away to be hearing them going like, "Yes, sir, yes, going there," and it's nice. It's more somber that way, in a way, kind of more detached, but also at the time I felt more immersed because of sometimes stupid voice acting. It wasn't like diverting me from what I was trying to do, and what I was trying to do is, gain strategic or tactical advantage in a specific battle, and in that sense I was quite grateful that they actually don't talk back to you. Can even this be changed? Oh, we can. Okay. Oh, nice. I didn't realize that. There you go. Another good point about the game. And in terms of the gameplay options, it's just the LOS intensity, like how pronounced I think it is and how long it stays before it fades out. There aren't that many problems I can mention about the game, at least in the, I don't know, about like 6-8 hours that I was playing it. The only thing I could probably say is that it's sometimes, possibly because I'm not that familiar or not as familiar enough with some of the mechanics, I felt like they were not following my orders, but they may have, like for example, if you tell artillery unit to attack something, they sometimes seem to take their sweet time about it, but that could be because of there's like the mechanical reasons that are not, it's not a bug, but it's the way the game's supposed to act. They can't really switch targets that quickly, or switch the type of ammunition, etc., etc., which I think actually is explained in the guide of the game, where it tells you that you need to make sure when you're switching between ammunitions that it's appropriate time, because they may take a lot of time. If they just loaded one, they would have to unload that and then load another one. So in those terms, it would be historically accurate. On that beautiful note about the artillery and the way it works, I will bid you farewell. This has been Ultimate General Gettysburg. It is available on Steam. I think possibly the only place I've seen it being sold. It costs about £11 if I'm not mistaken. Could be 12, and the equivalent in your local currency. If you did enjoy this video, please consider supporting this video in any way you can. And I will see you most definitely in the next one. Bye.